Hey everybody, this is Joe and welcome to another video in my series on the basics of Python. And I'm starting a new series today, and that is working with text files. So up to now you would have learned that you can store information or data temporarily by using a variable, and then we went further, and in the previous series about lists I showed you how you can store multiple values in a list. And now we're going to go further and see how we can store something permanently. With the variables in the lists, you could only store something, any of the data, only temporarily. When you close the program, you switch off your computer, the information that was stored in memory would be gone. So we're going to now learn how to store information permanently, and that is using Python to store information in text files. So we've got our heading, working with text files, and I'm going to now teach you how to create a text file in Python. So let me just say here, creating a text file using the write mode. Creating a text file using the write mode. Right, so first things first, we have to store whatever we create, we have to actually store in a variable, just so we can start using the information temporarily. So I'm just going to call this one file. Again, it could have been anything, it could have been monkey wrench, it could have been whatever, but just to keep it to our text files, I'm going to keep it as file. Then we're going to use a new function, it's called open, and inside there we're going to have two values or two parameters that we're going to store. The first one is going to be the name of the text file. I'm just going to use a capital F for file, and I'm going to save it as a text file, so we can open it in Notepad. So that's file.txt, and we're going to use W, which means write. So we're going to create a file. So that means we're going to create a file that's called file.txt, and we're going to store that information in a variable called file. So when I run this program, I'll just press F5. I've already made a name for it, so I'm going to say OK. When we run this, let me just bring this over this side. I'll just keep it there. You can see nothing has happened over here. But let's see what happened in our little place in our Windows Explorer, our file explorer. So there you can see there's the file that I created. This is the actual file that I'm using, and this was just a previous file that I made, but this is the one that was actually created. So let's just to demonstrate that, I'm just going to delete this one. I'll delete it because that is open. Okay, cool. Cancel. I'll just close that, and then I will delete that one, and then I'll run this one again. So I'll just F5, that'll run. I'll bring this across. You can see nothing has happened. I'll bring across my thing, and there you can see the file has just been created. And I'll just double click that and bring the file across as well. So you can see here's my file in Notepad. It's a text document, and you can see it's there, but there's no information in it whatsoever. So we just created, using code, we just created a blank text file. I'll just minimize that and close this other one. So we just created a blank file. It does nothing apart from creating it using the write mode and storing it like that. Right, so how do we get information into our text file? So we use this function. Again, we know this is a function because it's followed by an opening and closing rounded bracket, and all the information is stored in file. So how do we write to a text file? So let's say writing to a text file. Any spelling? No spelling mistakes. So this is what you do. You use your variable that you've created over here. Use exactly the same one, and you're going to say .write, and this is another new function. Again, you know it's a function because you got the word, open and closing rounded brackets, and now we're going to put inside there something like computer science is great. How's that? Computer science is great. So what this means, we are now attempting to write this information into that file that we've created there. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna press F5 and I'm gonna say okay. It's going to, I think I need to keep this one maybe somewhere here, and then you can see, I'll just bring it down. So that has executed with no errors. And then the other thing we want to check is what's happening in our text file. So I'll just bring this down so you can see there should be nothing in there. So as you can see, it's still empty, and the information that we wanted is not there whatsoever. But it is somewhere. It's somewhere in your computer hiding. We just need to get it out. So let's have a look. So the reason why that has not happened is because we have created a file ready to write. We are writing to it. So this is the process of writing that information to that variable. So at the moment, all this data is inside that variable, but it's not actually in that file yet. We first need to finalize this one so that the write process can complete, and we do that as follows. Finalize, oops, is it a spelling mistake? Finalising the text file to store the information. Finalizing to store information. Okay, cool. And how do we do that? We use our variable name again, file.close, and that will finalize that function there. Will finalize all the things. We've already done that, it's created, but to store this inside there we have to finalize the file. So now let's run it again. Let me just go back to my little text box. I'll just double click it so you can see I didn't write anything in there. So I'll close that. I'll run this file, and you can see there it's run. And now I come back here, I now open this one, and now you can see it says computer science is great, which it is. Computer science is great. Right, let me close that, I'll leave that one there. So that is how you can get information into the text file permanently, and you can open that file anytime you use your computer. Right, but let's say we want multiple lines. I'll just copy this line, and I'll paste, and I'll change this one to what can I do? Let's go for I code every day, and we'll make another one and just say there I love Python. There we go. So there we have 3 lines of code. So as we have already created this, we are finalizing it every time we run this. So all this information should be stored, but you will see there's a slight issue. If I just wait, so first cancel it. Let me first show you what I mean. So there's only that one piece of information there. By the way, every time we create that, we're going to overwrite whatever's in there. So we're going to overwrite this basically with the same thing, but we're going to basically also add that bit of information over there. So at the moment that's there. So let me just close that, and I'm going to F5 and enter. That is executed, and now we get back to this one. And now if I double click, you'll see the issue here. We've got our computer science is great, then we have our I code every day, and then we've got I love Python. So this is not really what we wanted. I was expecting this part to be on the next line, and then that part to be on the 3rd line, but it didn't do that because, and if I just go back here, because we haven't actually told it to start in a new line after it's written this part. So the last thing for this video that I want to show you is just how to get each of these lines of data that we're adding onto a new line. So I'm just going to put the file.write, and then I'm going to say plus, and then I'm going to say we need a new line. So this is the text or the code that we use for a new line. That part is just to join these two together, so that goes on the same part of the data, but it'll execute that and then it'll create a new line. It's like pressing enter basically. I'll show you that. So if I just go back to this one, double click, you can see it's only that what we had before. So if I come back to this one now, I will F5 and enter. Right, it's executed, and then I'll show you what happened. That means we got one of them and then it's like pressing enter, and then we have the rest of the code. So we also want to sort of press enter right between that. So let me close that, come back here, and I'm going to also concatenate or join the same thing with a \n for new line, and this one is not really needed because that's the final line, but I'll do it anyway. I'll just do it like that, so whatever comes in new after that will be on a new line. So let me press F5 and enter. That is executed. We come back here, double click that to open, and now you can see everything is on its own line. So a few things we learned now for today, and that is how to create a new text file ready to be written to. All the data is stored in my variable. Then we use the write function to write information. At the same time, we joined or concatenated a new line. It's like pressing enter, so it goes in a new line every single time. And then to finalize the text so it's written permanently into this file, we use the close function like that. So thank you so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe, and also look forward to the next video in my series on working with text files. Goodbye.